Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Welcome, everybody. Episode 329 of the Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. I truly appreciate it. It is October 13th, Friday the 13th, everybody's favorite spooky holiday. Let's go around and see what everybody is drinking, starting with Wendy. Wendy, what do you got?
Well, I took a trip over to Schoolcraft College this week to check out their newly reopened brewery. It's beautiful, and I took some cans home to go. I got a Hefeweizen and their 275 Kolsch. One thing I really liked about this can is it's got the wide mouth. I love that because if you're out camping, you don't have to worry about using a glass, but you still get the, I can't even think of the word, but
aromatics.
You get the aromas, you get the aromatics, you get the less of the bubbles.
Less carbonation.
Less carbonation. You release some of that carbonation, so then you're not all gassy when you're drinking it.
Well, Dan, it's your time to top that. What are you drinking?
So I have got a Desert Royale. It's a Russian Imperial Stout out of Goldwater Brewing here. It's actually pretty good.
Now, don't you fret, folks. We did not kick Dennis off the show after one episode.
He's already gone.
He is
He set the new record.
Prior engagements. But we decided to bring Tito back. Tito and I went to the beer festival last weekend at Jimmy John's Field. Had a blast. Tito, what are you drinking right now?
Well, today I'm double fisting. So actually ran out to these folks yesterday. Went out to Brooks Brewing. And got one of their Hefeweizens. So I got a Brooks Brewing Hefeweizen. And then also in celebration of October 10th being National Black Brewers Day, shout out to Donovan over at Arctic Circle. Got his breakfast in Guatemala going on. It's a coffee stout, which is really, really good.
I do have an Arctic Circle beer in my fridge, or two of them, but they're both like 10+%. So I'm waiting for someone to at least enjoy that with, as nearly all the beers in my fridge are 13 to 15% right now with all those odd size that I have, which means that I went to the store and I bought myself a 6-pack of Arbor Brewing's Oktoberfest. To follow that up with another Arbor Brewing Oktoberfest and another Arbor Brewing Oktoberfest. So I'm going to be drinking the same beer, just a lot of it today. I haven't even refilled my keg. Got to get it done before Halloween because we do, for all the adults in the neighborhood, whether they have kids or not, we have our a beer ready to go for them to walk around and drink and, have fun, especially if they got like a little kid and they need a beer to relax.
Sounds like a good time to find a worldwide stout keg that you could put on tap.
First of all, I don't even want to think about how expensive that would be.
I mean, they don't really keg it anymore. They were selling for less than $100 for a sixth when they were. So put that out there.
If I could find it, sure. I don't know who I'm gonna talk
to. You're probably not going to, but if you could, that'd be a great one. Just because of 18%.
So I want to start off this show today with something a little bit different, just because we do not have a guest this week. We're working on getting new guests in the studio to chat, but I wanted to ask you guys a few different questions, some questions that I found over on everybody's favorite website, reddit.com. And it involves beer, craft beer, and I am going to start it off very simple and have you guys answer, respond, figure out what you guys believe is, if the original poster is in the right or in the wrong. And the first one we're going to go with is, am I the asshole for saying bring your own shit if you don't like it at my party? So I've started only buying cheap beer when we have parties at my house because the person's boyfriend has some friends who never bring their own booze. I'm totally fine with hosting and having stuff for everyone, but there's been several times where the people who come drink literally everything we have and not bringing any of their own to share with everyone else. Last night, I bought a 30 rack of hams for $14, and a bunch of people were like, this is disgusting. This is so gross. And I got tired of them complaining and said, you can bring your own shit. If you don't like it, stop complaining. Am I the asshole for doing this? I'm going to start with Wendy here.
Absolutely not.
Why?
Why? Because I know that there's a lot of people that do that. I was always taught you bring something. So I do have a couple of friends. I have one friend who hosts all the time. And when I first started bringing stuff, she would kind of be like, I have so much stuff here. Please stop bringing things. But now that it's been going on a few years that she's been hosting these parties, I don't think that she's as disappointed when I bring things. And I always try to bring things that not necessarily I would drink, but that other people at her house would drink. So, I think if you want to drink something specific, you should bring your own and not complain about what's offered. They don't have to give you beer. Hell, they don't even have to invite you.
Dan, what do you think?
I don't know. I think you're an asshole for buying hams. That seems like kind of like a dickhead move.
So,
like, you can come over. I have hams.
The particulars you have issues with is the fact that they bought a 30 rack of hams to make a point.
Yeah, that's like, what?
Yeah.
You wait. So this isn't you, right? This isn't
No,
something
this
you did.
this is
someone else.
No. You've been to my house plenty of
Oh,
times. Yeah. I'm like, here, drink anything, like everything.
I think they're an asshole for doing the hams. You could have got something a little bit better, But other than that, no. Like, I'll always bring stuff if I want something specific. But damn, don't be that kind of guy. Like, here's your Milwaukee's best ice or whatever the fuck you're doing. Like, get out of here.
Nick would like that if he was having a bad day.
No, that's Ice House.
Ice House, sorry.
Where he decides to punish himself.
So if they were to just bought like Coors Light or something, like a 30 rack of the Silver Bullet, you would have been fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tito.
I'm with Dan. I think he's an asshole for getting the hams. I mean, at least could have went Labatt's or something, I mean, come on. But no, I honestly, I'm with Wendy. I bring wherever I go. If somebody's inviting me over, I'll at least bring something, and not necessarily is what I would go to first, but what everybody will most likely drink. And I do that even now, go out and visit family or whatnot. And I know my family isn't really big into craft beer, so I will bring stuff on the lighter side just to get them to try it. See how they like it. They may like it, and starting to maybe become their new favorite. So I agree with both Wendy and Dan. I mean, yeah, he's an asshole for getting the hams. At least with like I said, do a Labatt's or something like that. I mean, come on.
I am the type of person where if somebody is hosting, I will either bring something that they like, or if worse comes to worse, I just bring the stuff that I want to drink and then take home the stuff that I don't drink. Are you the asshole for like bringing back your leftovers, like your extra cans, and not leaving them? Or like, I always thought it was like courtesy to leave your extra cans for the next party or for the next get together for the host. But for me, like, I usually just bring them because I know the host isn't going to drink what I'm bringing.
Right. If I know they're not going to drink what I'm bringing, I'll just take it back with me. I mean, there's no sense in leaving it there and letting them, letting it go to waste.
So I'll go on, Wendy.
I do have a friend that when I bring wheat beers over to their house, they're like, take that nasty shit with you because they're gluten-free. So those ones I tend to take with me, but for the most part, if I bring something and we don't drink it, I will leave it there.
All right. So I think we're all in agreement that the poster is an asshole for buying hams. But not an asshole for having better expectations from their friends.
No, that's fair. I agree.
Right,
with that.
that's fair. Yep.
All right.
I guess.
We're gonna get into a little bit further. We're gonna get into a brewery. Many of us have been to breweries. Many of us have been to breweries where you have brought your own food. So am I the asshole for bringing fast food into a brewery? The other night, there was a get together, 6 other friends to discuss an upcoming vacation. We decided to go to a brewery which also sells food. Not that this is relevant, but this place just opened up and put another brewery out of business that didn't serve food. I feel like they brought it up to try to be relevant and encourage bringing outside food. The drinks there are good, but the food is overpriced. For context, it's a large open area, very much a bar setup, but with a few tables. They describe themselves as a craft brewery and eatery. My wife and I intended to get drinks there, but didn't want to pay for food, so we got Taco Bell. We started eating, and before 2 minutes go by, a manager comes over and loud enough that pretty much everyone in the bar can hear, says, "Hi, I'm the manager here, and I just wanted to talk a bit about restaurant etiquette. We work really hard on the food here, so bringing someone else's food is like a slap in the face. So I'm going to ask you to stop eating that," after the waitress completely ignored us and didn't give us a chance to order drinks. I get it that it is rude to bring food to a place that serves food, but again, it's a bar, so the emphasis is on the drinks. Plus, there was a big group of us, so most of them ordered food and drinks. And then after the manager embarrassed us, they ignored us, so we just had to sit there watching everyone else eat and drink. I don't think it was unfair that we were asked to stop eating, but I do think it was unprofessional to be so loud about it and ignore us afterwards. Am I the asshole?
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Come on.
Who does that?
Right.
You know,
100%.
If you're going to a place that serves food, you're not going to bring Taco Bell.
Right.
And they're going to get mad at you for doing it. Like, come on.
And no
then
matter
getting
how many
mad-
times you say it's a bar, they
Yeah.
still serve food, which makes them a restaurant.
It's not like they're serving like just charcuterie or like, bagged pretzels. Like apparently
Yeah.
they're serving like real regular.
Yeah, it's not like they just
Food.
got a popcorn machine sitting in the back. Come on.
Yeah, like if you were going to like Sellerman's or something like that, sure, yeah, bring your own food. It's whatever. Sure, they have popcorn or bagged chips, but I cannot believe like the audacity, like to put it in there, the audacity of this person to bring in Taco Bell to a brewery.
Of all things, Taco Bell.
Not
Like,
just to a brewery, but to a brewery that serves food. Because if it
Right.
is a brewery where they encourage you to bring in your own food, that's completely different. That wouldn't even be a question. But they knew that
They knew
served
going
food.
in that they serve food.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
didn't want to pay for that food.
yeah, when you first
Which-
explain this, oh, go ahead, Wendy. I'm sorry.
Taco Bell is ridiculously expensive right now anyways. So why the fuck wouldn't you just pay $15 for a decent burger instead of paying $15 for 3 tacos and a salad?
In defense
Sorry.
of the defense of the asshole, this was 4 years ago. This was posted.
That doesn't
Okay.
change
That
it.
doesn't matter.
It still
I'm
doesn't
I'm
change
just
up my
change,
feelings.
updating the relevance of the cost of
The
Taco
cost.
Bell
Yeah.
in 2019 versus 2023.
Yeah, that was a big difference.
I just could not believe when I was reading that earlier today. I'm like, how can someone just bring in their own? Like that would just be bringing in your own food to any restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there's a time and place for it, and I think it's if you got like maybe a 3-year-old, and
Oh,
that
that's different.
Yeah, like it's because that 3-year-old's not going to eat anything, and you need the 3-year-old to behave, so you bring in a thing of Cheerios and Cheez-Its, and they're happy. Not together, obviously. You eat them separate. You don't want to accidentally put Cheez-Its in milk.
I will venture to say, I mean, well, if that's all your kids are eating, we need to talk about some parenting skills here. But
I don't
But
have any kids, so
in the case of somebody may have particular allergies or something like that. So in that type of case, then yeah, you may want to bring your own food in, but at least go talk to the manager or go talk to somebody ahead of time, that you're coming, that you have a particular allergy or this, I'm allergic to certain types of food. So is it okay if I bring this in? That may be okay, but you got to go talk to them. Just going because just because you don't want to pay for their food. I mean, that's an asshole move right there.
Whipping out the Taco Bell. Like
I
I
know.
can't. I don't know. I would call someone out if I saw that, and then they get mad because they were called out about it.
At least
Like-
eat it in the car and then go in and have drinks. I mean, geez.
Yeah, just oh yeah, we ate on the way here. Like
Yeah.
eat on the between the Taco Bell and the brewery, go eat it. Like
No one would have
Does-
cared if you were sitting there drinking and not eating.
Yep.
So you got your Doritos, Lowe's tacos, or whatever they're called. Well, everyone else is eating brewery food. God, I hate these people.
It sounds to me like they had an axe to grind with the fact that they put their favorite brewery out of business, and that's really what it came down to.
Well, all they did is get like basically banned that day for being idiots. So I don't think
Right.
anyone cared.
so the original user, I don't know if it was a throwaway, deleted their account. But they do have a postscript here after they got called an asshole. And it says, after a lot of negative feedback, I just wanted to clarify we got the Taco Bell in the first place because that's what we were used to doing at the old place and didn't really consider beforehand that it might be a rude thing to do. None of our friends thought anything of it either. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Once we were told to put it away immediately, we immediately did. In the OP, I did make it seem like we brought it 100% because the food was more expensive there, but that had very little to do with it at any time. We got the Taco Bell out of habit, realized they served food while we were already in line, but decided because the atmosphere, it wasn't really a big deal. I wrote the original post the way I did because I was focused on what happened afterwards and didn't consider to be important information. So this person's legit upset that they just got called out for being a terrible person.
I
at the
guarantee no one
brewery.
defended them.
Oh, I'm sure nobody did. And why would you? Like your friends probably didn't want to upset you because you're like, they
Yeah.
didn't want to ruin the friendship over Taco Bell.
Yeah. Let the restaurant do it. At that point, be like, all right, bring your Taco Bell.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of her friends went over and tipped them off. Like, hey, they got Taco Bell over there.
Somebody asked the waitress, "Do you have a Taco Bell like
Right.
in the kitchen?"
Like that one commercial that an athlete that has the Taco Bell in his house. I don't know if you guys seen that or not.
I haven't. I'll
Yeah.
always remember Richie Rich with the McDonald's in the house.
Yeah, it's a new, relatively newer set of commercials from Taco Bell. They actually have one set up in his house, so he can get Taco Bell whenever he wants.
All right, folks. I got one more for you. Am I the asshole for calling out a woman at the brewery? It's a very specific title.
Oh boy.
It's not looking
Realize-
good so far.
My husband and I meet with a group of friends, 8 people total, every Friday. We choose a brewery and meet there for a couple of beers and play games, Cards Against Humanity, Uno, Trivial Pursuit. Just a fun night with friends and an all-around good time. We are all in our 30s and 40s. Some of us have small kids and others are empty nesters. It's an adult-only thing, so the friends in the group that have small kids get babysitters so that we can have adult time. We went to the brewery last week. It's about an hour and a half drive for 4 out of the 8 of us, and we wanted to try for almost a year. My husband and I got there first and found a large picnic table that was close to the bar. And while we waited for our group to get there, it was basically 2 large picnic tables side by side, communal seating. And you could easily fit our group on one table and another group on another table. While we were waiting, a woman approached us and asked if she and her group could take the other side of the table. We told her yes, and she signaled for her friend partner. He came to the table and had an infant carrier and was holding the hand of a toddler. I immediately looked at my husband and said it would have been nice of her to mention that they had kids with them. A few minutes later, after they sat down, the rest of the group, 6 people in total, come to the table, and each of them had kids with them. One of the kids, who was about 2 to 3 years old, was screaming to be put down and immediately started running when they did. I was pretty upset and told the woman that it was not cool for her to not even mention that their entire group had small children and that there were plenty of other tables that could have accommodated them in the tap room. They ended up moving tables, but not after the friend partner of the first woman said it was not cool of me to make them move tables. My husband said I was out of line, and when he told this to our friends, they were split, with half of them agreeing that it was okay for them not to say anything about the kids, and the others saying that there is no rule against having kids in the tap room, so I should have just let it go. Am I the asshole for calling out a woman at the brewery? Well, Dan, you started the second one. Wendy, I asked you for the first one. Tito.
It depends.
It depends. Okay.
How unruly were these kids? I mean, yeah, just put the kid down and just starts running all over the place. I mean, yelling, screaming. Okay, you got to get control of your kid here. Just calling her out for not saying something, not mentioning they had kids before they sitting down. No, I don't think that you need to disclose that. It's just kind of my party sits here. It's it's probably like a brew house type tap room where, it's open seating. You can sit wherever you want to sit. I mean, a la, Griffin Claw, their brew house, you can sit anywhere in there. I mean, they got tons of those picnic style tables. So no, I don't think, well, yes, I think she's an asshole for calling them out afterwards and being upset because they didn't mention that they had kids. If the kids were being unruly, no, she's perfectly fine. They need to get control of their kids. That's my opinion. But
Wendy, you and I are the only ones without kids here. What's your thoughts? We're the empty nesters.
So, first of all, the title that they gave was definitely misleading.
I don't make the rules. I just read
I know.
them.
I'm just saying the title was definitely misleading. And I would have been pissed about that when I was reading it. I'm not gonna lie. My second point though would be yes, she's an asshole because she did say yes, it's okay. I don't think that they would need to tell them that they have kids. I guess I do think that the other lady is kind of an asshole that they picked a table next to somebody who was already there when there were other tables where it could have been just them. But again, I don't really know what happened. Like, were the kids really unruly? Were they, did they feel like they couldn't act like they normally would because the kids were there? I guess I can't really say either way.
Yeah.
I would have let them sit there though. And while I might have been annoyed, I might have just moved our table instead of saying something to them. Unless it was the kids were being too unruly.
Dan.
Yeah, they're an asshole. Nobody's under any obligation when they come into any public place to be like, oh, by the way, I have kids. Who does? Have you ever had that happen?
No.
No, I've never told anyone either, but I also.
Well, no, you know what I mean. No one's under an obligation to tell you they have kids. It's a public place. Kids are allowed there. Yeah, I agree with Tito. They need to keep them under control. You don't need like snot-nosed brats running around screaming. But if I walk in, God, my kids are teenagers. They wouldn't show up in public with me anyways. But if they were still little, I'm not under an obligation to like about to sit down at a table like, oh, by the way, I got 2 kids. Like, no.
Right.
no.
Like, you move. Like, basically screw yourself if you really think like I have to bow to your needs at a place. Like, just there trying to do my own thing. Like, and you do your own thing. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing.
All right. Well, they've added some extra context after the fact.
Uh-oh.
This was not a restaurant. This was an actual brewery tap room that brews and serves its own craft beers. Where I live, they are forbidden by state law to serve food of any kind. The only non-alcoholic drink they are legally permitted to serve is water, and that is required by state law to be provided free of charge. The tap rooms that we go to that allow children families have a separate area that is for the families only. This one did not. Also, for those that keep asking why we did not move, had we known that this group had children, we would have moved. No questions asked. They moved before we had the chance to even get up and switch tables. I never asked them to leave or move. I only told the woman who originally asked us if she could have the table that it would have been nice of her to let us know they had kids. Lastly, I have children myself. The conversations we have, games we play are oftentimes not kid-friendly. I do not know of any parent who would want to have their kids listen to a group of adults playing Cards Against Humanity, or how an emesis bag leaked and ruined a pair of shoes. So we are absolutely would have moved because we would not want little ears to hear inappropriate things. Is this
Okay.
still an asshole?
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't change it.
Nope. You can flip it around. Just because you say that she should have told her that, you know, they had kids in their party. Well, she should have told them they were going to be playing, you know, naughty adult games. So even if they didn't have kids, they may not want to hear all that anyway. You don't know who or how
Yeah.
what that
Right.
person is allowed, you know. So
Here's the thing too: if these other bars have family areas, go to one of those.
exactly.
Like, you don't want to be around kids, there you go.
I always remember Matt Bush having like such a crazy feeling when he wants to talk about kids and breweries.
yeah.
'Cause he's like, get these kids out of here. I'm gonna trip them. I'm gonna, destroy them, I guess, like whatever Matt Bush would come up with for his commentary, for sure. But I don't think you need to tell someone that you have kids, but if your kids are acting like shit, you need to be self-aware of that. Like there's having kids, and then there's like not acknowledging that the kids are not being shitbags. Like I think there is a line, but I don't think the woman with kids crossed any line or anything like that for just the sole purpose of having kids.
I hope Matt Bush never goes to right brain, because he would have a meltdown like
Oh, for
instantly.
sure.
Same with Pizza Port. If he came out this way, he would lose his shit so fast. And they want those kids there. It's like set up to have kids running around and everything.
I mean, that's just like most of the breweries that sell food nowadays. You're gonna see some kids there. It
Mhm.
really doesn't matter if they got a kitchen on premise. You're gonna see some kids there.
I
Even
think
the
it's
ones
kind
that
of
don't anymore.
yeah, it's turned into the I mean, I can't tell you how many times, like I talk about going to the Gathering Place whenever I'm in Troy. I grew up going to the Gathering Place because I would have to go there with my dad after his softball games or after a bowling night, and I was not like there to cause a ruckus or anything like that, like, be rowdy. Like I would get, not only would I get yelled at by my dad, I get yelled at by all his teammates, and that probably scarred me. There's a reason I go to therapy. That might be one of them too.
I have to tell you, I used to feel a lot differently about kids in breweries. It used to really annoy me until I started taking care of my grandma, and I have to take her with me a lot more places, because now I'm a little more sympathetic to the families that are the parents that are bringing their kids with them. One, because it is expensive to have babysitters all the time. Two, because they just want to spend time with their kids too, and there's no reason they can't do it at a brewery as opposed to Applebee's.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
The tap room I go to all the time, you'll see kids, you'll see dogs. Like, it's a welcoming place. I'm glad there's not a person like that who wrote this story, because they'd probably be asked to leave if they did that.
I can tell you right now, when my family we're out somewhere, we're trying to figure out some place we want to go eat. Right now, my kids, their first choice is a brewery, just because they know the food is good. I mean, just the type of food they love going to breweries just for the food. And then let's face it, I know everybody on this panel has had that thought when you see those rowdy kids. I'm gonna trip that little bastard. I know everybody's had that thought. I'm just saying. I got kids and I've had that thought too. So
Ken, you're muted.
It's like having the thought is perfectly fine, just don't act on it.
absolutely.
Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, friends. As we continue, I do not have any more asshole posts for today. I'm going to save those for later. But for those of you who do not know, we have been doing this show since 2015. That's right, 8 years long, over
Holy
400 episodes. All of them great for the most part. Some of those first few are definitely a little too drunk for sure. I don't know if I'd go listen to them, but go check out some of our older episodes. But I want to test you guys. You guys you were all living in Michigan in 2015. So I am quizzing you, and I am going to bring in a little scoreboard that I have.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
And it's not a scoreboard between the three of you. You are a collective. You're going to be working together. And I want you guys to tell me, looks like I blew it up just a little too much. The top 15 breweries in the state of Michigan in 2015.
Oh boy.
This is by production, not by sales numbers.
By
But
barrels.
this is, yes, barrels,
Okay.
but this is 2015. And we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 for you guys to guess. But yes, 2015. We'll start with Wendy. This is craft beer. So give me, do you
I don't know
any-
when Bell's became not craft beer. I would
Like-
say Bell's.
2 years ago. Bell's Brewery, yes, number 2 for sure. We do have, Bell's was number 1. Bell's was number 1 that year. Dan,
It's got to be Founders. Number
Founders, correct. Founders is in fact number 2. Tito, who do you think? You don't have to go for number 3. You could just go any of the
Yeah,
rest.
New Holland.
New Holland, number 5.
2. Oh wow.
Go back up to Wendy. Wendy.
Shorts.
Shorts, number 4. You guys are getting all the easy ones.
God, what is number 3 in 2015?
Remember, you don't have to go with number 3. You can just pick a different one.
Whew. I can't even remember breweries from 2015. Ooh, I have no idea. I am drawing a blank here. Give me some ideas.
Well,
Well, skip me. I'm not talking about you, Ken.
Dark Horse, Roke.
Yeah.
Oh, Roke. Yeah.
All right. Roke is actually number 14.
Wow.
Tito.
Coonan.
Coonan, not on the top 15.
Not on top 15. Okay.
Nope. I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I don't even see. Oh, there you go. Coonan is 28.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So they were producing some big numbers in the 20. They were doing 2,600 barrels in 2015, and in 2022 they did 878. The fall of Coonan for sure.
Yeah.
Not fall, but obviously more people are taking their space within craft beer buying. So no Coonan. Wendy.
Let's go with Dark Horse.
Dark Horse is on there. They were not they were split at that time. Number 6 though. So you still have that number
It's
3
number
missing.
3.
Dan, just think of all the production beers that you
I'm going to say Brew Detroit.
Brew Detroit is not on here.
No,
Not 20.
Okay. Not.
I don't even know if they
Production
were
beers that you just bought.
What production beers did I just buy?
Oh my gosh. How many cases?
Oh, God. We'll use it. You're up next. Go.
No, I did.
Oh, then Tito, you're up. Go.
I'm gonna say odd side.
coming in with Bats McGee in the Twitch too. Odd Side Ales. That is going to be on there. Odd Side's number 13. Remember, this is 2015. So think back to 2015. What were you drinking? What were you buying at Zatuna Liquor in Rochester Hills, just south of M59 on Rochester Road? Or Dan, I mean, you were probably walking over to 8 Degrees Plato in Ferndale at that time.
Didn't
Wendy?
buy a lot of Michigan stuff though.
Perrin.
Perrin, not on the list.
Ah.
I don't know where they are. It's kind of bleeding my eyes right now looking, but it doesn't look good for where they were, at least in 2015. Dan?
Well, I think Wendy left this for me. Rochester Mills.
The Production,
Yes.
Rochester Mills. Let's see here. They are actually number 16.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Just
Just
outside.
outside.
Yep. Meaning you got
Oh.
plenty more to go. Y'all are missing some very, very easy ones.
I know. Atwater.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say Atwater.
Atwater Brewing. That is
Shatwater
number
was
3.
three?
Atwater. Okay.
Did I just jump in front of you, Tito?
You did,
Eh.
but I'll take
All right,
credit
go
for it.
ahead.
Don't worry about it. I'll take
Doesn't
credit for
matter.
it. Your turn.
I will give you a hint. Number 7 is a defunct brewery.
Ooh.
No.
No longer exists. The rest still exist.
Whose
Come
turn
on.
is it?
Anybody's turn. I don't care now. We've gone through a few cycles. Start
if it's
shotting it out.
Defunct, I would say Black Lotus.
It is not Black Lotus. Black Lotus was a brew pub. They did not have any distro.
Oh, gotcha.
So I don't think there was any way that they were going to be able to get in here.
Makes sense.
Oh, what was that one Michigan beer company?
The one in the
Ye-
church?
No.
Yes. So you're thinking Michigan Brewing Company, but they defuncted in
That was before that.
2012. Yes.
What about Ellison?
Ellison not on here.
Okay.
What about Dragon Mead?
Not on here. All right, let's think. Let's get in here. Let's give you some hints. We'll start with Wendy, and I'll give Wendy a hint. See if I can lead her into it. Or you know what? We're gonna start with Daniel.
I'm going to
Daniel.
go with Bats McGee. Let's say Saugatuck.
Saugatuck, number 11. Bats McGee doing better than you guys
Yep.
in our Twitch channel. So then I will give Tito a hint. Where is my list? I keep losing my list trying to go back and forth. All right. You know what? You guys are missing the 51st state.
Upper hand?
Upper hand.
No, that would be under bells.
Oh.
50.
51st state.
51st Brewing.
No.
Is it
I'm just
Ordoc?
giving you.
Yeah.
It is not Ordoc. You guys are guessing all the wrong ones in the UP.
Tequamanon Falls Brewing?
No.
Definitely
No.
not them either.
BlackRock.
Yeah. Yes, Black Rock.
All
They're
right.
up there.
Black Rocks, number 15. Number 15. Let's see here. Wendy.
Yes.
How much what did we drink on the 300th episode? The party, the show.
Oh, Griffin Claw.
Griffin Claw.
Number 8.
Oh wow.
Number 8. We've got, let's see here. This right here. This one, number 12. Tito, I'm gonna help you out here.
Okay.
It's not Arbor Brewing, but think of like all the Ann Arbor area breweries. What do you think would be in there?
Holmes.
Not existing.
Holmes,
yet.
but
2015.
what is that one? Wolverine.
Wolverine's not in there.
Not in there.
No. Think you got the sourness with Holmes, but what's a brewery that would have a lot of maybe sours? Comes
Oh.
in big bombers. It might even have like a Santa Claus representing it because he's very jolly.
Jolly Pumpkin.
There we go.
Oh jeez. Jolly Pump. Wow.
It's like leading a horse to water and then shoving his face in there. Northern United Brewing, Jolly Pumpkin, North Peak, all those breweries. So we still have a defunct brewery, a UP brewery, and a West Side brewery.
Okay, for the West Side, let me take a stab at this. I'm gonna say Right Brain.
So no, because that's in the northern
not
part
the
of the
West Side.
state.
Still the West Side of the state.
No.
Traverse City. Nobody calls
This-
Traverse
It's
City
as
the west side of
as
the
you
state.
can get.
Traverse
No,
City is
no.
definitely considered up north, no matter where you live in Michigan.
Hey, even Rob calls that up north. That's up
Well,
north.
okay, that's because it's north of 14 Mile.
Folks,
be real.
I think we need to fire one of you and bring in Bats
Bat
McGee.
McGee Arcadia,
Oh,
is the
yeah.
defunct one.
Arcadia is in fact the defunct one. Bats McGee rolling hard.
He really
for the
is.
I want to
top
go
15.
with Keweenaw.
He went on number
Keweenaw.
9. That is
Are they
I mean,
still
is,
around?
is that the west side, Dan?
Can I
That
guess
Yeah, it
the
is.
west
I mean,
side
it is. It is.
Can I guess the west side one is Brewery Vivant?
It is not Vivant. And Keweenaw is still around selling pints for like $3 a pint.
Dang.
Yeah, I went in there and thought it was a mistake when I got my bill.
Oh boy.
I was like, oh, I had like 3 beers and I got a 6-pack to go. Why is it only like $15?
So
All right,
it's number 10. This is the west side.
The
and
west
it's not
side
in
of the
Traverse
state,
City.
not Traverse City. They did distro. They distroed in bottles.
Are they still around?
They are still around. They are very, very west side. When you think west side, go Kalamazoo and go west.
Oh,
I would just have the Pet Shop Boys song in my head.
Is it Mitten Brewing?
Greenbush.
Not Mitten Brewing. Wendy finishes it.
Greenbush, nice.
Greenbush.
Greenbush, number 15 or number 10, excuse me. The 10th largest brewery was in fact Greenbush, as I'm getting there to get it. They did 10,000 barrels that year.
Wow.
Wow.
This year or last year, they did 1,605.
Whoa. What happened?
Well, their top year was 2014 with 16,000 barrels. They started in 2011 with 300 barrels. So they exploded and just kind of went very, very low. I think one of the big things is when there's more choices. So obviously there's a lot more distro, there's a lot more choices. Whereas in 2015, there was a lot of Greenbush on the shelves.
There was.
People were buying it and it was getting distroed. But yeah, this was kind of like the start of their slowdown. And yeah, that's where they are now, is at 1,600 barrels. Couldn't tell you even what rank they are off the top of my head. I do, however, have on the Better on Draft website, they're 41 in the state right now.
Greenbush has a very hoppy style too, so a lot of their beers are a little more bitter than I think people like now with the New England IPA craze.
Yeah, that West Coast IPA, hoppy, piney, like nobody really is feeling it these days. They kind of want that juicy beer.
Maybe in Michigan. West Coast are big out here these days.
Yeah, I think that's definitely also going to be very like I was going to say territorial, based on where you're living and what you want. Because I mean, here we're buying, what's that stupid fucking beer? Buffalo, not Flying Buffalo, Bourbon County.
Bourbon County.
We buy it and we get it off the shelves day one, but we don't care about anything else. So I don't know. Dan, you're saying that they love West Coast out there?
Yeah, as far as IPA goes, yeah.
Yeah, I can't even tell you the last time somebody made like a West Coast style IPA here in Michigan.
Oh yeah,
Like you'll see, especially Stone. It's a big one you see out here too. Like everywhere probably has it.
Wendy, you're still seeing West Coast at breweries?
Mhm.
I mean, I don't pay
They
attention.
don't always
so
call them
maybe.
West Coast anymore. They just call them IPAs, but
They're the West Coast style.
they are.
They're the IPAs and then the
definitely West Coast
hazies
style.
are the hazies.
Yeah.
The New England. Yeah.
They don't call them any IPAs as much anymore either. They're all hazy IPA or juicy IPA.
Yeah. Juicy.
Well, that is going to do it for episode 329 of the Better on Draft podcast. If you're listening live, we will be back in about 10 minutes or so at 8:15 Eastern for the news segment. So stay tuned. And no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Cheers.
We all supposed to uplift me, shifty. Everybody set them up Shit's Creek. And I just said something embarrassing to Cheryl Teagues. And I'm aware of tease, but I'm staring at a parodies. High five, bro, singing somewhere. 5 or less sign, think about a rise and decide that I'm gross. And find time with fine folks. I'm some ride or die close. I want to ride a unicycle across the tightrope. Like the battle, I might choke. I might choke the shit out of a rapper with the right quote. I hate to be accused of hyperbole. Paid no attention to the man behind the curtain, courtesy. Yo, I'm 33. Give a fuck about your diet, serving me, insert your favorite surgery. Whole goddamn circus is absurd to me. Return to a mercy me, murder modernity, permanently. Yeah, big perm, picturing some urban weed. But y'all are nervous about a turpentine. Running from the gun, serpentine. I've had the perfect week, earth to dweebs. Since I've learned to tweet, I've been like large extra large, bars, Escobars, hardest in cars, tarnish the stars, charge at the guards, garnish with law, parchment cigars.
Fill my pockets with the wallet of a misanthropic pill. Papa ill, gotten hit the chill spot. Y'all got the pot of chili hot. Really not dealing with you Billy Bobs. SOB, silly sob stories getting gory with the Philly cheese. Spill it on my filthy jean jacket. Reenactment of a pigeon crapping. Pissing in your picnic basket. Pigeon catch you sick and fetch. Wiggle like you pitched a tent. Rhymes and beats so sick you wrench. Sitting on your picket fence, you hit the deck. Records jaw, chop them like a chicken neck. Second best, something that I'll never be like sick of sex. Pick up checks, something that I never do. Pickle eggs, something that I never chew. Get respect, something that I never knew like revenue. Resolute to evolute. Get up off my level in your devil suit. I don't need your residue, your resume embellished, mine is bulletproof. Bully on cues for the fennel soup, a friend of few.
Large extra large, bars, Escobars, hardest in cars, tarnish the stars, charge at the guards, garnish with law, parchment cigars. Large extra large, bars, Escobars, hardest in cars, tarnish the stars, charge at the guards, garnish with law, parchment cigars. Large extra large. Exhausted in a soft spot, soft, but I get off, and I thought I might be a great one beneath it. What I make from the songs that I make in layman's, I'm a straight bum, dumb how I radiate, radio made with love, integrated, I'm a grade above. Ayo, I'm patient with impatient love, saintly for my space and funds, forever keep a face of fuzz, amazingly your taste buds, never make a fuss. I was made a son in 81 and 98, I take some drugs, a couple major ones, still not emaciated, taste the crumbs, turn up the bass to let the basic bump. Banal to my blood stain the avenue. Cats are cool, cashes roll. And we catching all the cancer too. Passing while we chanting mood. Laughing at the man till I'm pushing up the daffodils. Low hanging fruit. Don't hang with you and yours. She got low bangs. And you a human and a humidor. Slow change of views. Movement of a troubadour. True. All in all, I'm smart enough to know what stupid's for. Low hanging fruit. Don't hang with you and yours. She got low bangs. And you a human and a humidor. Slow change of views. Troubadour, true, all in all, I'm smart enough to know what stupid's for.
Bittersweet sounds, one industry town. Syndicates drowned by the litigants, hung by our ligaments. Workers losing benefits, criminal interest in it, claiming they beneficent. We are in a new time, paradigm shifted, and they're telling us we're shiftless when all we do is show off our shifts and shit. Standing on the fiscal cliff, polar bear swimming for the coast, post up and bear witness rope thinner than the hair on our chinny chin. Chilling in chinchilla skin, slipping, sipping chivas, chicken littleish. Sky is falling, dying birds, Mark Fitterich. March in the mist, tear gas, cartridge, carcinogen, sniffle mint.
Forget the sirens and listen to the words I'm saying. Forget the crunch of broken glass under feet. Forget the patterns of light reflected off the edges. Forget the bag, get off the street, yo. Low hanging fruit, don't hang with you and your she got low bangs. And you the human and humidor, slow change the news. The movement of a troubadour. All in all, I'm smart enough to know what stupid's low hanging fruit. Don't hang with you and your she got low bangs. And you the human and humidor, slow change the news. The movement of a troubadour. All in all, I'm smart enough to know what stupid's for.
In wet dreams, I'm on a jet ski with Lily Sobieski, her chesties, besties, we nasty like Nesty. Ration Nesterovich, last in the best league. Cash in the check, getting smashed on the bench while you sweat me. Sweat your last album on Etsy, your dad's got the best weed. Asking about the time your mom met me. He was in the closet breathing sex steam. He's definitely a lefty. Hefty bags full of testy rags. You can catch me in my dressy pants behind the plexiglass. Yo, text me, I text you back. A picture of my dick is sack, dressed up like the eagle on the Mexican flag. Now what's messing with that? What's messing with that? Hey, what's messing with that? Come on, I wanna hold your hand or whatever. I wanna hold your hand or whatever. I wanna hold.
Honey dip is looking superb. I'm only trying to scoop her boob in the back of the stupid Uber. I would've hit her up sooner, but the morning breath is right, so I delight her afternooner. Oops, turned out that this groupie got that grouper. Forgave her dead tooth and her gangster Looney Tunes shirt. This new fox ain't hardly Rupert. I used to do dirt, but that's a new pot of stew stirred. I'm in the nude using June's juicer with goat hooves and loot turnt while she gets loose with Lucifer. You can put that on her booty fur. Yes, first she got that pink berry, no juniper. I was in chains more than Alice. She came to snuff the rooster. All her jewels a pewter, a lady of few words. She got a free 2-life cruise shirt. Rendezvous crew used to do her. For more viruses than use computers. I wanna hold your hand or whatever. I wanna hold your hand or whatever. I wanna hold your hand or whatever. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. And maybe do some hand stuff. And maybe do some hand stuff. Come on, get out your handcuffs. Yeah. Yo, you got them feather joints, right? Yeah, shit's corny, but we're about to turn it out.
Smear your pellet sleeves in peanut butter celery.
Somebody tell that Della Reese's peanut butter celery.
Come on, get up and come on. Now that Cosby can't get Jello free, it's peanut butter celery.
Tell him it's a felony, drug and peanut butter celery.
For something healthier than shells and cheese, it's peanut butter celery.
Designing women's Delta B loves peanut butter celery.
I bet you French Ralph Geller eats his peanut butter celery.
What? Even if it's lies, the ball tells Rashid peanut butter celery.
Yeah, but that's crossing the line right there.
Pay my bank teller fees with peanut butter celery.
How consumers feel about this new development?
It helps the nuns deal with celibacy, peanut butter celery.
Plant some watermelon seeds and peanut butter celery.
You don't like chicken or watermelon?
I heard the cat the interstellar eats peanut butter celery.
Zach makes Screeching Kelly freeze with peanut butter celery.
I'm in the street, Stella screaming peanut butter celery.
In the final old yellow scene is peanut butter celery.
When your bronchioles swell and squeeze peanut butter celery.
I think that's it.
Loudest melly breathe peanut butter celery. Raw. Raw.
Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's better on draft.
Welcome, everybody, to the Craft Beer News segment for October 13th, Friday the 13th, 2023. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. I truly appreciate it. It has been a crazy week, to say the least, but it is the end, and we're here to drink and have some fun. Let's go over and see what everybody is drinking, starting with Tito. Tito, what do you got?
Tonight I'm finishing off the last bit of my breakfast in Guatemala from Arctic Brewing. And then coming up next, I got a fresh crack of Black is Beautiful by Sagatok, which I should have had that answer in the last segment, but Sagatok Brewing. There you go.
And Dan getting bailed out by Bats McGee, about to get replaced by him. What are you drinking?
Oh boy. So I've actually got this AleSmith Speedway Stout Affogato edition. Really good. Whatever they did with this, if you've had Speedway, you know it's a bit bitter. This tastes like Speedway Stout without the bitterness. Apparently it pairs well with vanilla ice cream. So definitely give it a try.
Make yourself a beer float later.
Yeah. Well, I've only got one can, so probably not, but.
Wendy, what are you
One
drinking?
day. So I finished up my Hefeweizen from the Schoolcraft Brewery, and I have moved on to the 275 Kolsch.
So I've lived in Michigan my whole life. Do you call like I-275 275, or do you say 275?
Is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know.
I would assume so, but
I would assume so since they're on 275. Whatever.
I've never heard it called 275. Is that?
It's
no,
not.
I think
No,
she was just doing
I
the
did not
numbers
put
like
two and two together.
734 or 424.
Oh, okay.
So she was saying 275, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be 275.
You're probably right.
It was one of
been a
those
long
things
week.
that's just like in my head, and I could not. I went to the Lions game with Nick on Sunday, and he kept calling tinnitus, and
What?
and
He also calls GIFs too, I bet.
oh my god, let's not hurt the guy while he's down. But like he said it like 3 times, and I'm like, have I been saying it wrong this whole time? Like, am I wrong? And he goes, no, the doctor pronounced it that way, so I just pronounce it that way. I'm like, all right, whatever. I trust your doctor.
I'm a big fan of how do you say that on Google.
What's that?
I'm a big fan of how do you say that on Google.
Oh.
I am drinking a third Oktoberfest for the night. I'll probably be drinking it throughout the night. We are pushing through. Have you guys started watching House of Usher, or the fall of the House of Usher yet?
Is that about the singer?
No, it is
No?
it predates the singer. It is from Edgar Allan Poe. So I'm pretty sure he predates Usher, the
That's delicious.
lyrical artist. So we're probably going to be trying to push through a lot of the episodes today and tomorrow. So I will be up and drinking and having fun and watching that. But it is the Craft Beer News segment, which means we go over the news of the week or recent weeks to talk about what's going on within the world of craft beer news. Starting with Dan. Dan, what do you got for us?
Let me pull my thing back up. So this is another throwback back to GABF. You know, I had the pleasure of going to the Boston Beer brunch hosted by Jim and Sam from Boston Beer and Dogfish Head. And this really caught my attention because Jim told a good story that I'm going to talk about here in a second. And Jim said in this article that the craft beer industry today is what success looks like. And I'm curious if you guys agree, if the current craft beer, because we know it's going down, he even mentions it in this interview, that it's going down as far as, you know, volume goes, sales goes, you know, we're seeing breweries go away, everything like that. And Ken, I don't know if he told the story when you were there the year before, but he told the story of how Utopias got its name because we were so close to a dystopian world of just macro craft beer like Bud Light, Miller Lite, until him and people like him got everything together. So I'm curious if all of you here think we are still in a successful era of craft beer, or if it's starting to decline. Tito, we haven't seen you in a while, so I'm going to start with you.
I mean, from my perspective, I think we're still in the successful era of craft beer, but I do think it's slowing just because of all the introductions of, the NAs and the RTDs and things like that. So I think it's slowing some. I don't think that it may be on a steep decline and we won't see craft beer in a few years. No, I don't think that, but I do think that craft beer is still here, and I think it will always be here just because of what it is and what it offers every people. So
now you just said something interesting. You think NAs are part of the decline of craft beer?
I those types of beers, yeah. I mean, anything that's not purely craft or with the alcohol content. I mean, NAs are a version of a craft beverage. But I do think that they're probably taken away from some, because I don't, I've seen articles in the past, saying that how, the millennials and the newer generation are drinking less. So that may be part of it as well. Not just, and that may be part of it as well, because they're going to the NAs, they're going to the RTDs, they're going to the, what is the white clam? What is that called? Those
White
things,
Claw.
The seltzers and stuff like that.
White Claw, White Clam.
Yeah, white clam. That's exactly what it is.
I love that.
Tastes like you're sucking on a clam. That stuff's terrible. Oh my gosh.
That's an interesting thing, because one thing that we're doing now, Sam Adams Just the Haze won a gold medal, I believe, last year at GABF for an NA beer. And they were giving out samples of that, and people are actually ordering it because, the beer was complimentary, but of course it was all Dogfish Head and Sam Adams. You can't, if you're just handed that beer, you can't really tell if there's alcohol in it or not. They really did a good job with it. I feel like that's actually going to help as far as craft beer goes. If more brands are putting out the craft beer options, you're seeing it at more bars. They're not just doing the Heineken Zero, or I don't know, is O'Doul's still out there? I can't even think of other.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
macro.
O'Doul's has a little line, like they have like 3 or 4 different variations of their beer, not just like regular lager O'Doul's.
So that brings it back to, I think the NA craft beers will actually help. What do you think about this, Wendy? Is it still a success story right now, or is it going downhill?
Yes. So I think that what people are looking at when they say it's going downhill is that you're not getting the same production numbers. You don't have the breweries that are as big as they were back in the day, but there's still so many more breweries around. And part of what he was talking to in this article was that they're here to stay. They're part of the environment now. So pretty much any town you can go to, there's a brewery within 15 or 20 minutes. So you have the opportunity to drink craft beer rather than buying the Bud Lights and the Coors and the Millers. That we didn't have that opportunity when we were younger. So yeah, I think it is still a success. I also think that the NAs are definitely going to help the industry. Because they're showing that they are versatile and willing to work with what people want to drink when they come to their brewery.
And then what about you, Ken? Like I said, you've had the opportunity to go to this and beat Jim and Sam before. They've made it. So, those guys are set. They could both retire tomorrow if they wanted to. But what about these smaller guys? Are they going to be able to could we go to a smaller brewery and say, they'll tell us, yes, we're succeeding?
All things considered, a lot of breweries today are having issues between the cost of everything going up, the cost of ingredients, the cost, and then having to pass it on to the customer, the amount of choices that people have. There's a lot of things that will, I want to say, right size the market. There are breweries that will rise to the top, because breweries still go out of business today. We're still losing breweries. We're still going to see the effects post PPP loans of what breweries were able to stay afloat during that time versus which ones are out. Look at some of even the big players like Stone getting out of the game and selling to oh my god, not Lion, but Sapporo, I think. Like there's a lot of things that can and will happen, but it all depends on what you decide is succeeding. Are you successful if you're putting, food on the table for your family and you're providing a living for your kids and the rest, like that's successful to a lot of people. Therefore, why do you need anything else? Like you don't need to have a big production facility to be successful. Look at Baffin. They don't have food there. They are packed every single day. People are there. That is successful for them. And then you look at a brewery that might be only open a few days a week, like a beer camp over in Ann Arbor, or Ipsy Ale House, where the guy's looking to retire. I mean, there's a lot of these breweries that have been open for 25, 30 years that they might close because they can't find anyone to buy it. Like what is success, I guess, would be my question to each and every brewer. What is your success? Is your success selling out? Is your success going distro? Is your success making money that you don't have to take out more loans and you're paying out loans and you can expand like Loaded Dice is? So yeah, there's room for all these other crafts and stuff like that. And I think there will be a right sizing where some people will get left in the rubble, but I don't think there's good. We talked about the craft beer bubble since episode 1. I don't think one exists. I really don't.
I agree with you. Not everyone's trying to be Sam Adams and Dogfish Head. So you bring up a good point. Last point, then we'll move on, is success might be just, making a living off of your local brewery, having your brew pub. And I'm glad you brought that up because not everyone wants to do nationwide distribution. We talk to guys all around the country and women all the time, all across the country, and if success to you is, making a living and making everyone in your local neighborhood happy, then it is success. So I do agree with that.
I mean, we've talked to breweries that people beg them to sell their beer to distro, to sell their beer at bars, and they won't. They're like, no, I want people to come to my brewery. I want people to experience the beer at the brewery, not and that's a little bit of is probably control. Like you can't control how it gets, imagine if it went to Augie's, like with those dirty ass lines.
RIP.
I only say it now because they don't, they're gone. But like there's plenty of bars where we've gone to where the lines are so dirty and you're like, holy shit, this beer is bad.
I had one. I'm not going to call out names. I just want to put a quick thing. I might have mentioned it before. Not too long ago, I was somewhere where they put, Ken, you've had Kilt Lifter. Put a pint down in front of me. I could smell it standing, and I'm pretty tall. It was sitting on the bar. It was so dirty. I could smell the beer from not even picking it up. And I was just like, no, sir.
Yeah. So when
you deal with a lot of that,
you're controlling your own narrative. Look at, I'll finish the conversation by saying, look at what happened with, what was Joe Walter? Liberty Street. Liberty Street expanded. They went into distro. And it was like the worst of everything. Like they got screwed within their distro contract. They got screwed within like the explosion of craft beer at that time. Like a lot of things went wrong for Joe. And now he's just like, I'm just going to make my beer at my place and nothing else. Like that's what he wants to do to succeed. And if he does with All for One coming up in Livonia and succeeds and, can feed his family and do everything great, that's success. You don't need to make, even 500 barrels a year to be successful. You just need to make enough to do it on your own.
Yeah, I agree.
And one other thing is that if with that definition of what do you determine as success? And if, and it's different for each brewery. And so I think a lot of more breweries may be going to the model of just staying local and not doing the distro. And I think another perception as to that craft beer is kind of dying out or is going on a downslide. Maybe if you just go to your neighborhood box store and you just look at how they rearrange, their beer section, there's a lot less craft beer there. I mean, you see seltzers, you see NAs, you see the domestic stuff all over the place, but you see a smaller selection of craft beers out there. I know, at least I am. It's like you go to Meyer, they redo their section. It's like, wait, where's the craft beer at? This whole aisle used to be it, but now it's not anymore.
So could that be going back to the more, neighborhood breweries versus the larger distro? Because we saw everyone and their mother trying to get into distribution. And I really think we've gotten back to the, like it was pre-prohibition, where, you went to your local brewery, what was in your area. I feel like we've really gotten back to that because there's no shortage of breweries out there. I just don't think they're distributing like they used to.
I agree with that.
I feel, Michigan is always such a pain in the ass state because our distro and self-distro laws are just so archaic. Even the updated laws are so archaic. So I was talking with Ryan Locke, who we had him on the show. He was from Brew Detroit. He works for M4CIC now as the sales director over there. We're going to be having him on the show soon. But we need more of these small distributors to be able to get these small breweries, at least even for a marketing campaign, get their name out. Like, it's good for Brewery Face On to get out their beer at 8 Degrees Plato, because then people will know, hey, oh crap, there's a brewery over near Indian Village or East Village, not East English Village. That's Harpo's.
Sneer Hamtramck.
Yeah. So you have like positives that you can get, but you don't get it within the world of craft beer in Michigan. So I think there's room for distro. I think we still see plenty of distro. I still think the shelf space is there. Like when you go to Meyer, that shelf space is still there. Sure, it's getting filled up by RTDs and stuff, but I think not only the space is just getting bigger. Like they are accounting for more area for beer because that's what people want. They want to buy local. They want to buy fresh. They want to buy beer, seltzer, and RTDs all in one spot. That's why they go to Meyer. So yeah, I again, the name of the article is Jim Koch and the Craft Industry Today. What is success, or what success looks like? Success is literally just success. And I think everyone has their own definition.
Well said.
Yep.
Well, Wendy, what's your article?
Well, so my article is kind of a leftover from last week, but it's really played on my mind all week, so I kind of wanted to talk about it anyways. I found an article in the New York Post that there are anti-diabetic drugs that seem to be impacting beer stocks. So I did a little bit of research on it and found that it was not just the New York Post that was talking about it, but quite a few different outlets. Apparently anti-diabetic drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy are being touted for their weight loss and appetite suppressant benefits. And since those have kind of taken off, the stocks of beer and snack distributors seem to be taking a hit because of it. Nestle's share price dropped last week 2.5%. Mondelez, who is behind brand names like Oreos and Chips Ahoy, took a hit of 2.7%. Kellanova, which was formerly known as Kellogg's, is down 1.5%. The Constellation Brands, who is, the U.S. distributor for Modelo, recently took over Bud Light, is the nation's most popular beer, is down 1.3% as of last Friday. But what does that have to do with this medication? Apparently, Walmart, who knew that they were going to be able to give us this information, they sell the drugs at their pharmacy, so they were able to study changes in sales pattern using anonymous data on shopper populations, which is a whole nother topic. But that data allowed them to see how many customers on those weight loss drugs they were able to compare their shopping habits and to those that are not taking the medications. And they are saying that the users of the drugs, which are reportedly causing some unpleasant side effects, I don't want to talk about that though, have said that the appetite suppressants has cut their grocery bill by as much as 20%. Someone who struggles with their weight on a regular basis, I went down that rabbit hole on this because it was important to me. And I know, like, Ken, you were on the keto diet for a long time, very publicly on the show. It's something that kind of resonates with me. But Bloomberg says that consumer staples gauge dropped 3.1% just last week. Fortune magazine says that U.S. consumer staples are the third worst performing among the S&P 500 sectors for this quarter and are down 9.1% for the year. Morgan Stanley found that patients tended to cut back on meals and snacks while taking the weight loss drugs and also consume less alcohol and carbonated drinks. Fortune says that the large international companies will find this nothing more than an irritant, but that if you are in a fast food outlet or a smaller business where the bulk of consumers are on these drugs, it's going to hurt. So my question is, do you think that this is just another thing that the craft beer industry is going to have to combat? Or are the drops in stocks just a reaction to the fact that Walmart released this data?
So I'll take a stab at this because I've looked into this. That Ozempic thing, it's a craze as far as losing weight, and it works. Why people aren't drinking beer, I have no idea. I do know, like me personally, if I stop drinking beer for a month, I can drop between 20 and 30 pounds. So that does play in a factor, but I don't know why this drug is stopping people from doing things like that if they enjoy it. I think it's just a reaction to Walmart releasing that data. I mean, we were talking about 1% drops and 1.5% drops in there. I don't think that's at the end of the world. And people just had a little bit of a panic, be like, oh my God, people aren't drinking beer because they're losing weight with the drug. So I think it's just panic. I don't think it's a long-term thing. Plus, there's a lot of people that are never going to do that. You don't know too many craft beer people unless they're in a really dire situation and needing to lose weight. They're just going to be like, oh, I'm done. Let me take this drug and lose. It takes like 15% over a year off your weight, if I remember correctly. You're not going to see a lot of people who are average or a little bit heavier. Like, no one on here is like morbidly obese, including myself. I'm a pretty big guy too. I don't think you're going to see that demographic just be like, oh, not drinking beer anymore because I'm taking this drug.
Well, so the biggest weight loss is the thing that Al Roker had, the
surgery.
Yeah, like gastric bypass. And when you have gastric bypass, you cannot drink alcohol. Like you get violently ill when you drink alcohol on a gastric bypass. For this is, and again, we're in a lot of studies haven't been fully conclusive on Ozempic regarding
it's still
certain things. Yeah, it's still way too new, but the important things to note is that it's one of those drugs where the more you take, the more appetite suppressant it is. And the less you take, the less, so you can gauge how much appetite suppressant you need. It's not addictive, meaning that if you go off of it, then it's you just go back to normal. There's no adverse side effects. This is, of course, based on a lot of studies on the drug so far. With that in mind, I wonder, and I know Dan and I have talked about this personally within the specifics of just regular life, but does this go into effect of the appetite you get when you drink? Because the worst thing about drinking, especially when you're trying to lose weight, isn't necessarily the drinking, it's what you eat after.
The high-fat foods, high-calorie.
You're eating whatever is closest and whatever is easiest, and that is, and it might be that person who went to Taco Bell during the episode 329 that we talked about. It might be, I found myself where I'm drinking and I'm like, crap, I need to eat, and I just kind of gorge and eat food, and I'm like, oh my God, this is not
100%
ideal. So is there, and we talked about, is this going to cut into beer sales? Is it going to cut into alcohol sales? I don't think so. I don't think people are going to get rid of, that vice if they can manage both the vice and the weight loss.
I'm kind of curious as to how they're making this connection and this correlation between. I mean, for people that are potentially taking that drug and taking that supplement or whatever, and they're making a conscious choice, to lose weight. So what goes along with that is the conscious choice to potentially stop drinking pop, stop drinking beer, stop drinking those things. I mean, is that a direct connection to the a side effect or the end effect of taking that drug? I don't think so. So I'm really curious as to how they're making that connection. Just based off of what people have in their shopping cart. Yeah, if they're taking this drug to lose weight, yeah, they're going to have less food in their cart in the first place because they're trying to lose weight. So,
And if it is a anonymous survey, like you're not supposed to be looking at the two of them together. How do they know when you purchase something at the pharmacy? How do they know that you didn't go and purchase something different? Like if it's not supposed to be, your name's not supposed to be on there, how are they putting those two together?
That's a
Right.
good question.
right.
I don't know what law. So if you guys remember this might have been like a decade ago when Target was able to figure out when women were pregnant before women were actually pregnant. There was a study of analytics that Target did where they were able to match up purchases with what aisles these people are in and shopping in, and all this information from the Target Red card, their rewards card, all that stuff. They were able to find out like women that were pregnant before the women actually knew they were pregnant. And the amount of data and analytics that go into these stores, for my work, like we work with a lot of these bigger named organizations and their analytics are so hyper specific. Like we know so much data about what time people are in the stores, how many people are in the stores, what types of people are in the stores, male, female, they're different races, they're different ages, they're different incomes. Like the amount of data that they have there is stupid. And to top it all off, when you have platforms like AWS, they can take all of this data, analyze all of it, and feed it back to you in a report that's easily readable. You don't need a business analyst anymore. You just need the data, and some computer gives you those answers. So when we're talking about how do they know what drug you're taking versus what you're buying, what they're probably doing is that taking the data and information of how much that drug or when that drug is getting picked up, how often it's getting picked up, not by necessarily the person, and then what is selling in the time around it. Because they know what sells when. They know what time is the big time for, cabbage to sell. Like they know the best. You guys laugh, but they have times where these foods have to be restocked because for some reason
cabbage.
I had cabbage today for dinner. Like it just but they know like, oh, hey, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. is when a lot of people buy cabbage for some reason. So we need to make sure that the stocks are filled at the shelves are filled at that time with stock. So go on.
No, I was just about saying, collecting all that data, I can see it's really easy to connect who's buying what, be via credit card statements or even rewards, your reward ID or whatnot. So, I mean, it's really easy to connect who's buying what with, what all they're buying. So I know every time I go, maybe even if I switch credit cards, there's still a connection back to me. So they know everything that I'm buying on this trip, on that trip, on this trip. So yeah, I do agree. I mean, they have all that data, and it's really easy to draw trends between what people are buying and whatnot. So I can see that.
Yeah, until they make a over-the-counter version of this, I don't think we're gonna see anything too crazy that Walmart is being scared of. I mean, obviously this is a Fortune article and they're talking about it. And I think they're trying to trend for the future. But I don't foresee a lot of people getting Ozempic. And then of course, what happens in 10 years when like 10 years worth of Ozempic use gets analyze too.
Oh, I agree with that for sure.
All right. Well, Wendy, I will pass it off. Tito.
Let's see here. Like I say, short notice. I didn't have much of a research going, but I do have one here. There was, if I can find it, let me pull it up here. Da, 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 da.
It's okay. We're only live.
There we go. I know we're live. Come on.
Fast McGee's
So
about to give you
apparently
shit.
there's, yeah, I know. Apparently there's a mystery Philly fan out there buying rounds of beer for people at stadiums and whatnot. So I guess apparently at the Philly station at the Philly games, there's a mysterious generous fan that's going around buying full sections at the stadium of beer, actually 2 rounds of beer at the stadium. So which I actually think this is pretty cool. I wish this happened at a game that I went to. They said the mystery buyer did 2 rounds, so it basically added up to roughly about $9,000 that they spent on those 2 rounds out of this one particular section at the ballpark. So one question I would like to pose to the panel here and see what you guys think about this. Is this something that, if you had the means, is this something that you would potentially do if you were a frequent flyer to some of these sporting events or whatnot? Is this something that you think that you would do? And if you didn't have the means, would you actually want to be sitting in that section no matter what the beer was? So let's go to Dan. What do you think?
So first off, I hope this guy is there next week because it's going to be the last 2 games that the Phillies are playing at home after the Diamondbacks did kick them. You don't believe me? Just look how the Diamondbacks are playing right now. They've had 1 home game. I would 100% do this if I had the means to do it. That is completely badass. Would I want to be sitting in the section? Yeah. Even if you're handing me a Bud Light, I might not drink it, but the thought that you did that is amazing. So I would 100% do it if I could, and I'd 100% want to be there because someone cool enough to do that for everyone, like I want their beer. If they're going to do that, I'm more than gracious to take that. It's a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, I'd drink it even if it was a Bud Light. How about you, Wendy?
Yeah, free beer is good beer. Not always, but in this case, I definitely would.
So if they were handing out hams, would you be okay with that?
Oh, hold up. I don't think stadiums sell hams. Thank fucking God. Don't give them the idea because that's terrible.
Yeah, instead of $9,000 worth of Miller Lite, you're buying $7,000 worth of hams.
Good God.
I have drinking some pretty crap beer just because it was given to me. So I'm pretty sure that I could handle drinking whatever this guy bought, or girl, whatever. They're anonymous, so we don't know. If I had that money, hell yeah, I would do something like that. I think it's pretty awesome because they were just like, we're having a good time. This one's on me.
How about you, Ken?
Oh yeah, 100%. Give me a beer. Doesn't matter what the beer is. If you put a beer in front of me, I will be happy. I will say thank you and I will drink it. You put a whiskey in front of me, I will be happy and I will drink it. I'm the kind of person where I just don't. If you're gonna buy me something, then it's dealer's choice. You're buying me probably what's in your means to buy me. So if you can't afford, 1,800 tequila, Bats McGee is asking. Bats McGee in the Twitch is saying, even if it's a hazy, honest to God, even if it's a hazy. I mean, I got, I don't know how many beers we got from Alaskan, but I went through those hazies and the IPA up there. Like, I will drink what is bought for me. So there's nothing around it. If you're giving me a shot of, 5 o'clock vodka, I'd question your choices in life.
It'd probably be for me. So hold on.
So there's a difference. There's a difference between buying someone around and trolling someone. and I would believe you were trolling me.
Probably.
And at that point, the rules are a lot different. But if like you were like, man, you've been so good to me, I've been on hard times, let me buy you a drink, and you buy me a shot at 5 o'clock because you lost your job and that's all you can afford, then I would gladly take it. But if you're giving me a shot at 5 o'clock just to give me a shot at 5 o'clock just to watch me drink it, I don't know if I would. I think there's that little that there's that line that I'm gonna draw in the sand right there.
So I thought of something. That you said that. So now I'm concerned. This happens where I'm at, and they hand me a pumpkin beer.
Oh,
Like,
oh
they
yeah,
hand me a pumpkin
Dan,
beer.
they're giving you a pumpkin from Dogfish Head.
Which they had on.
What if Sam came over and gave you that glass?
I would have to smile and nod and just down the hatch.
Yep.
The man
So-
gave me $300 worth of Utopias in a matter of 15 minutes. I'm gonna smile and nod and say thank you.
So I was at the St. Patrick's Day parade in Detroit, and one of the bars was they had like a $2 craft special. And you had to just reach your hand in the bucket and pick whatever craft beer they had in a can out. And I pulled out a pumpkin beer and I traded it. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
I
lie.
would hand it to someone else and go for round two.
I did.
Like,
I
let's
didn't
go.
drink it. I also don't like shamrock. Like I don't like mint.
Shamrock
my
shakes.
beers. I love a shamrock shake. That shit's delicious.
Oh, but like
But
Naughty
I
Girl
don't
Stout.
like mint in a stout or in any other type of beer. Like it never tastes the way it should. It always tastes like mouthwash to me. So I'm pretty sure that the second one I got was a mint one. So I stopped buying them at that point.
All right, Ken. I'm gonna challenge you on this one.
All right, let's go.
Based off of us hanging out at the beer fest at Jimmy John's Field this past weekend.
Are you giving me the number 2 Oktoberfest in the state of Michigan?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Nope. This is a special promo night in Comerica Park. Tigers are playing, and their special sponsor is Smooge. Are you gonna drink that Smooge?
Hell yeah.
Really?
If they're giving me free Smooge, I'll drink it. I mean, I can't chug it. That's for damn sure.
No, nobody can chug Smooge.
So Tito I've never had Smooge until Saturday night.
Me neither.
And I had I think we had 2 different ones, and I had one of their like tropical flavors, so not like the strawberry banana or whatever their natural normal flavors are, quote unquote. And I had it, and I mean it existed, but it's not what I wanted to drink. I guess that's probably the best way to describe it. Is it's something that I just did not want to drink. I did not want an alcoholic smoothie beverage, and I understand that's what it is, and that's what I was getting into, but I was like, when I want that, I'll probably want that, but in all honesty, if I want that, I probably want rum. Like I'll probably want a pina colada, I'll probably want a margarita, I'll probably want eat something frozen, like the frozen slushy machines that you see in Vegas all the time. Like I would go that far, but Smooge is just not a style of drink that I want, and therefore I probably will never have it again unless it's I'm at Comerica Park and someone's giving it to me for free, or
It's just getting handed out.
yeah,
You just smile and nod.
you smile and
you're
like. Holmes, the company that makes Smooge is Holmes or Troubadour, which is the same company that is Holmes, and they have an amazing coffee like cream ale over there that is just so good. And anytime that I'm over at Holmes, that's just what I go for, because it's always on draft. Sometimes they have a barrel age that's on draft. Like they have at least one beer within my style that I'm happy with. So, and I don't go and I post on Facebook that they didn't have any of my style beers. I would never make that mistake.
again.
Shh.
Where can you go wrong with like 9 IPAs and a bunch of like Kolsch's and lagers?
If they had a Kolsch, I would have been great. They did, like, when I went to Foam had I think Foam had 16 beers on tap, and it was all kettle sours, IPAs, and one, I think it was a Pilsner, and that Pilsner was so damn good. Well, that's like, I couldn't, like, maybe, you know what, Wendy, maybe that's why I'm team anti-flight, because when I go to a brewery and I can only have one beer or two beers, why would I want a flight when I can only want to drink one or two?
That makes sense.
I mean,
I don't get a flight if I'm in that case, if I'm in that situation.
I just leave. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dan, you're, after that whole debacle, you're kind of you look at the menu before you show up places now kind of person.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep, same here.
I still don't. Even after all that.
Well,
it depends on who I'm traveling with.
The worst part is we had people saying, like, you're being an ass for doing that. Like, I'm allowed to like what I like. Like, don't get mad at me if I don't want to go drink your 9 sours. Like, absolutely. I'm going to go somewhere that has beer I want to try.
No, and that's, you know, the whole thing, and I'll let it be for tonight. But the whole thing that I had against that brewery is that brewery makes amazing other style beers. Like, I've got 3 in my fridge right behind me.
You know, Tom.
And so I was just kind of like, when you get there, you get to we talked about it going, like, or we talked about it on our Facebook page. Like, a lot of people, their white whales are having a beer at a specific brewery, having Pliny the Elder at Russian River, having, you know, your KBBS at Toppling Goliath. Like, these are things that are a little bit more, like, for me, like, I wanted to have Zoe at Maine Beer Company, or Mean Old Tom, or King Titus, or their Oktoberfest. Like, there's all these beers that I wanted. It just wasn't there, and it sucked, and it was what it was. So you live, you learn, and you don't post it on Facebook.
Maybe they lived and learned too, because when I went, there was a much wider variety of stuff. So
maybe.
And I went like a year after you, so maybe it did. You never know.
Hey, more power to them. That's just, you know, it is what it is. They're still successful. And I'm still here running a beer podcast for some reason. So my last conversation that I wanted to bring up, we didn't get to my news article last week because the 3 of you guys, well, not Tito, but Dennis, had a lot to talk about. But there was from a beer consultant, and the title of the story goes, Bump Williams Consulting, that's the name of the consulting company. Manufacturers focus on new shoppers to drive growth, while retailers ask for a focus on core brands. So this is a kind of a he said, she said. We've talked a lot about where the Gen Z drinkers are going, which manufacturers want to try to attract Gen Z drinkers as people age out of drinking, they stop drinking, or they sadly pass. So you got to go with the new drinkers. You got to go with what they want and what they need. And they have a wide variety of what they want and need. I don't really foresee the kids these days are drinking the way that we were drinking when we were in our early 20s versus, I mean, Tito, you've got a kid in college that's a freshman. I wouldn't say I'm sure they're experimenting, but they are away from college, so I'm just going to assume they're experimenting. We're going to go with that for this story. Whereas retailers are saying, you know, hey, let's focus on the core brands. Let's focus on Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, the brands that sell. I guess the question is, where is the infighting when it comes to, I feel the younger generations, including myself, have zero brand loyalty. We don't have true, and I think this is across many brands. We don't love specific brands as much as our parents did. Our parents loved and I'm talking like things like Big Boy, things like Better Made, things like buddies. You guys are laughing, but your parents had a very specific thing that they loved.
Big
Like,
boys,
they-
burners.
Vernors, like they'll never buy a Canada Dry. Oh no, it's always going to be Vernors.
My dad's losing his mind on the west side of the country because he does not have access to Vernors.
So I'll put a throw out there. It's tough to do it these days, but the one I remember the obsession of is Town Club.
Oh yeah, the town with the E.
Yep.
Town Club sodas. Yeah, there are our parents, and even maybe us as we were younger had this brand loyalty that we just do not have anymore, because you want the newest, the freshest, the hottest. And I think retailers don't understand that's what we want. It's a reason why, people go out to Zaytuna Liquor, because they want to just see what's new, not what's new in beer, what's new in vodka, what's new in whiskey, what's new in all these drinks. Sure, he might not get into like what's new in like snack world, or what's new in maybe like he might not have like a bunch of stuff like Casamara Club, which is the mixer soda, Italian soda that's out of Detroit. But regarding booze, regarding food, we want to go to the hot new restaurant. We want to go try that. We don't have the same standing reservation at, like, God, I can't tell you how many times we used to go to I grew up in Troy. There was a restaurant called Marinelli's, and we would go to Marinelli's once a week, every single week. Marinelli, like, it just is what it was. Gathering Place, we would go to Gathering Place once a week. And when I went to the Gathering Place, it's probably the same 10 people that I saw there, or the same 10 people you see every single day. And they are the same 10 people who won't be there in 30 years because they won't be here, period.
They'll age out. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll age out. They'll age out of drinking. They'll age out of going out. We do not have the brand loyalty. Like, and to be honest, us younger generations, we're ready to dump brands that we love right away. Like, you do something dumb, you say something dumb, you make a bad decision, or you make a bad product. All right, I got 5 breweries within 3 minutes, or 3 minutes of where I live. I don't have a brewery I go to. So that was my rant. Sorry. But I'll leave it to you guys. Like, do you think that these organizations as a whole, breweries, and let's use the bigger breweries like your Boston Beer Company, your Sierra Nevada, Firestone Walker, should they, in the craft beer world, focus on their core brands, or should they do something like New Belgium did, where they rebranded a core brand, Fat Tire? They invested in a bigger brand and made it a core brand, Voodoo Ranger. Like, where do you think these bigger breweries with bigger distribution footprints need to be in the next year or two? And I'll start with Dan.
The perfect thing you brought up was New Belgium. I know they rebranded Fat Tire, but they need other beers too. And you mentioned 805 as well. 805 is at every bar here. It's the one craft beer outside of Stone, if that's still considered craft, that you can find literally anywhere. So you go to the place that has a bunch of macros, and then it has Stone. They need to put out other things. If you remember that Ben & Jerry's, we talked about this before, that Ben & Jerry's stout they put out at the early days of the show, do things like that. And that's why I think Sam Adams is so successful. Because people aren't going to drink Sam Adams every day till the end of eternity. People aren't going to drink 805 every day till the end of the eternities. Just put out other things too, and that'll get people coming back, because you're right. There are not people, like, none of us are loyal to one specific brand. Like, I have to have this only and this every day. Like, I'm going to go check out the newest thing. I'm going to go check out the newest beer. Yeah, you're here. You'll always be here. And we've talked about that before too. So you have to keep innovating, or else people are going to forget about you. Look at Greenbush that we talked about in the previous show. They were doing 10,000 barrels in 2015, and they're doing less than 2,000 now. If you're not innovating, people aren't just going to come back.
before anybody else hops in, there's one thing that we need to know. And you said like they're going to be there, but in reality they aren't. Look
the
at
bigger ones
Rochester Mills.
Okay, Rochester Mills is a perfect example. They're regional. 805 is going to be there. No one's taken out Firestone Walker, where they're going to go out. The new variation of Fat Tire, no one's going to not drink that once in a while. It's not going out. Unfortunately, they shouldn't have changed it. Sam Adams redid Boston Lager. Those kinds of beers are going to be around forever.
Okay.
You don't agree?
I feel like those types of brands, like I feel that you could have the new Coke effect where they just go back to the old one. If after, 2 years, nobody is going, like, they're going to see their beers drop. Now, I don't really know what the comparison is for not New Belgium, for Dogfish Head, but for New Belgium, I mean, Fat Tire is a dying brand for them anyways. Like, everyone was drinking Voodoo Ranger. Like, Voodoo Ranger is their portfolio. Fat Tire was an aside in 2013, 2023.
That's a
Even
fair
the new
point.
version of Fat Tire is better than some of
Is
the
it?
Blue Rangers that I've had, in my opinion. Yeah, I can tell the difference between the new Fat Tire and the old Fat Tire, obviously, because they switched up the style almost completely. I tried both of the Boston Lagers, and I can't tell the difference between the two, to be honest. It might be a little crisper on the new one, but it tastes the same to me. I'm still, if that's what's available to me, if that's my craft beer choice when I go to the airport or I'm at a dive bar, that's what I'm going to pick.
But the
Period.
question is, are you loyal to that? Are you drinking Boston Lager at home and like being loyal to it constantly? Or are you trying, because I know your answer to this. Are you loyal to Boston Lager where you're drinking all the time or not?
I don't drink it all the time. I do every now and then. Like, sometimes, like, when you go to the store, the choices are just overwhelming, and I will pick up a Boston Lager, or I don't even know what the other one I would pick would be, but or something, probably Sierra Nevada, just because I don't want to deal with having to figure out what new thing I want to try.
Okay.
I mean, for me, if you want to talk about brand loyalty, like, I've probably drank more odd side ales in the last 2 years than I've drank in any other beer. And that's because that's kind of where my keg loyalty is. And it's never been the same beers. Like, I'll get the Moscow Mule Seltzer, or I'll get the Italian Pills that I just finished. Like, I've drank a lot of odd side in keg because I like what they have, and that's what I want to have in my my home. But I've also had Wolverine, I've had North Center Brewing, like, I've had other kegs here, but odd side is probably where that is. But is that really brand loyalty when I'm buying just like a keg to kind of have to drink while I'm home and not like when I'm out? Like, I can't tell you the last time I had an odd side beer outside of my house. Maybe when I went to odd side last year at odd side on Black Friday. That was probably the last time I had an odd side outside of my house, was then.
I think what's going to maintain the brand loyalty is the innovation, is these breweries staying true to the craft portion of craft beers. I mean, as long as they keep innovating, coming out with different things, you're going to maintain that loyalty. And like you're saying, with Boston Beer Co. redoing Boston Lager, I mean, they're just putting a refresh onto something they've been doing for forever, so and that's what's gonna keep bringing people back, because now it's fresh as new. I mean, yeah, you may get some folks that are going to be upset because you change what they loved all the time, but I don't think they're going to just drop it and walk away, and that's the other good part about craft beer, in my opinion, is you get the seasonal beers that come in and come out. So you will get some loyalty out of that, because when that Screaming Pumpkin coming out, yeah, you better bet your ass I'm going to go get it. So that's because that's one of my favorite pumpkin beers. It's the Screaming Pumpkin from Griffin Claw. Even when you talk about KBS, people are going to go crazy coming out for that. Flying Buffalo, people going to go crazy when those things come out. So that portion, you do get brand loyalty, in my opinion, and it's going to maintain and stay.
Well, don't forget to mention it's almost BCBS time, where the people who scream about AB InBev are terrible fucking owners and they shouldn't exist, and then they're like in first in line
First
by
in line, yep.
BCBS. Yep, every
Yep.
time,
First in
every
line.
time.
So I have to agree with what Tito is saying about brand loyalty. I think it looks different than it did to our parents, because like
Yes.
our parents, they only drank the one thing. Like I had a friend, I did a craft beer bus for my 40th birthday, and my friend stopped at the store on one of the stops and got Bud Light to bring on the bus. Steve was like, I've never had Bud Light on my craft beer bus before, but because that's all they would drink. So they weren't drinking when they went into the breweries, they were drinking on the bus. Craft beer drinkers don't do that. Craft beer drinkers are loyal to craft beer more than they are to a specific brewery.
Yep.
So I'm going to pick the craft beer over one of those other beers, as opposed to I'm going to pick this specific brewery. But there are brands that I'm very loyal to, in that I'm going to try the new stuff that they have come out. I'm going to go there as often as I can. And, you know, I'm going to try and trade for stuff that I can get that I can't get here with other friends that can get it. So I just think that the loyalty looks different.
It's a fair point.
I think that's a perfect way to end this show for myself. Tito, thank you so much for coming out tonight.
For sure.
For myself, Wendy, and Dan, don't worry, Dennis will be back next week. We did not lose him. I know we've had other hosts that have come and gone really, really fast, but Dennis is excited to be here. At least he tells us. So he'll be back next week.
We'll see next week.
We'll see how good of a time he had on this week off.
That is going to do it. Go check out all of our old episodes. Of course, watch us live Friday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Kick, all at Better on Draft. And no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Cheers.